There is nothing more frustrating than waking up and realizing you didn't complete the task you promised yourself last night, leaving it for your future self to handle. Trust me, I know all about this. Some may even call me a professional procrastinator. But before I get into that, the goal for today's video is to make a wheat farm and just make the farm area just look a bit nicer. The main example I can give you where I procrastinate a lot is just university deadlines. Throughout my 3 years at university, I always waited till the last second to start any coursework. For a lot of people, last minute looks like starting a week beforehand. But for me, most of the time it was the night before, not even the day before, but literally the night before. The lecturers would always recommend us to start like a month beforehand, but I think realistically most people started a few weeks before, just so they had enough time to like actually get to know the content and understand the topics a lot better of the essay. Most people would also use the time to just get like good references and good sources for the essay. These essay references were no joke. You had to go find articles and you would have to read a lot just so you get the specific one that you need to prove your point and to support your argument. But what I would end up doing is finding an academic article that even remotely says anything that I'm trying to say. So I'd pretty much just control F and look for whatever I'm trying to prove. And if I found a sentence in the article that said anything close to what I'm trying to prove in the essay, then I would just use it. I would never read more than a page of an article. I would just find a sentence that was quite relevant to the thing that I'm trying to prove and I would just use it. This was a super risky move because if the people that were grading my essays actually like went out of their way to look at the articles that I was using, and if they read it, then they would realize that I definitely didn't read the whole thing. However, luckily for me, they never actually ended up doing that and I was completely fine, and I always ended up getting pretty good grades. In fact, recently I had a few essays that I had to submit. When I say recently, I mean like in May, which isn't actually very recent anymore. The time has been going by crazy fast, man. But well, anyways, I had around 6 or 7 essays that was due in May. There is no way that these guys are back. Every single video, these guys are here. Can someone tell me in the comments why they're always here? What the hell? Is it like a glitch or something? Like, there's no way I have to fight them every single episode, right? That's kind of crazy. Honestly, I'm getting the hang of it though. They are so ass. I can beat them easily just like that. So again, for all these essays, I always started very last minute, pretty much the night before. For some reason, I can't even get myself to start the day before. It always has to be at night. I just don't know why my brain's wired like that. Most of these essays, I started at like 7 or 8 p.m. and I would end up sleeping at like 6 or 7 a.m. just because I would be doing it all night. There was this one coursework where we had to like simulate a business, and pretty much we had to start like weeks beforehand just so we could understand how the program works. This time I completely agree when the lecturer said that we should have started weeks ago, because I started last minute again, and I even got an email from him saying that he checked the program and he saw that I hadn't even logged in yet. So that was actually like a big reality check. It was like a wake-up call for me, and I knew I had to get my shit together, so I started working on it. I quickly understood why we had months to do this task, because it was taking me so long to actually get in terms with the program. It took me so long to understand even the basic stuff. The way that the task was set up, it was pretty much we had months to do practice, and then we had one final run at the last week, and yeah, that was pretty much it. But as I said, I did it very last minute, so I just did 1 day of practice, and then the next day I did the final run, and I actually ended up doing pretty well. Again, for some reason, I'm just pretty clutch in these situations. I just don't know how I do it, but I just somehow managed to do it every single time. Once I was done with the simulation on the program, I had to write a report on it, and this report I started at like 8 or 9 p.m. and I ended up finishing it at like 11 a.m. So I stayed up the whole night, and that shit was crazy. In the same time period, there was actually a day where there was 2 essays due on the same day, and in fact it was my final day of university. When I say this, I'm not talking about like the official end date of the term, but I'm more speaking about how it was my last deadline for university. But before I continue, I completely forgot that I had to expand this potato farm a bit more, so I might just do that real quick. So as I was saying, obviously I ended up doing this very last second once again. I ended up doing both essays on the same day, and for once I actually started kinda in the daytime. I think for the first essay I started around 4 p.m. and I finished at like 4 a.m. Something crazy like that, like a 12-hour shift. Obviously I wasn't just sitting there doing it the whole time. I was taking breaks and stuff like that, but yeah, it was pretty much a 12-hour shift. And then I had to start the second essay immediately, but luckily for me the second essay was like a lot easier. It was just like a reflection task, so I was completely fine, and I finished that by like 10 a.m. Then I obviously slept, but then the thing was I woke up 2 hours later because I had to go play golf. I had a tea time at like 1 or something, so yeah, that night was crazy. That night, I mean more like that whole day, 2 days, whatever, you get what I'm trying to say. The reason why I said all that is just to prove how much of a procrastinator I've always been. This behavior of mine did not start in university. I was just always like this. Back in high school, I was the exact same way, and I'd always revise very last second, or I just wouldn't revise, to be honest, half the time. It was the exact same situation for homework. I would always end up doing it the night before. I'd always just do it on the day when it was due. I'd always say the classic sayings to myself, such as I'll just do it tomorrow, or I'll just start tomorrow. I would say this to myself knowing damn well it would be so much better for me if I just did it today, but I would always be like, nah, you know what, future me has this. I never really actually thought about future me having to do it. I would always just be like, you know what, I'll just come in clutch like I always do, and you know what, it was fine. Oh shit, I put the wrong fucking seed, bro. I'm supposed to put potatoes, not wheat seeds. I definitely could have done the task on the day, and it would have just made my life so much easier in the long run, but I would always just leave it to I'd always just leave it to future me to do whatever I had to do. Me saying I'll start tomorrow was not just for university deadlines or for homework in school, it was for everything in life. One of the main things is just like pursuing my fitness goals. I always end up getting just randomly motivated. I even made a whole video on that. I pretty much get like randomly motivated at 3 a.m. at night, and I just tell myself I'm going to start running tomorrow. I'm going to finally go to the gym tomorrow. And by the time that I wake up, I just completely forget about it and I just go on with my day. Another thing that I always procrastinate for is just starting to post YouTube videos. I've been posting YouTube videos on and off for like almost 10 years or something on different channels. Realistically, it might even be more than 10 years, but the point is that I always would tell myself that I'll post tomorrow or I'll start tomorrow, and I just would never do it. The rare times where I come up with an idea and I actually end up pursuing the idea on the same day always ends up more successful than when I say I'm gonna start tomorrow. An example could be that I just think to myself that I need to turn my life around. I need to just like start going on runs and actually just going on a run the same day. Most times something like this has happened to me. I always end up being more consistent than when me just saying I'll start tomorrow. I feel like if you know exactly what you need to do to improve your life, then you should just start now. Not every situation is a situation where you can just start now, but if you know you can start now, then you might as well just do it. Trust me, you'll never regret just starting now. Another thing that I do that I know is not kind to my future self is sleeping late. You know, sleeping late here and there is completely fine. Most people do that. You know, you go out to an event and you come home late, then you know, that's fine. But there are times where I know I have to wake up early the next day. Let's say I have a golf tee time at like 7 a.m. and I know I have to wake up at 6 a.m. I'll still end up staying up till like 3 a.m. watching YouTube on my phone, which would obviously lead to future me having a bad time the next day because I'm just tired the whole day because I didn't have enough sleep. For some reason, I always prioritize present me over future me. I'm not saying that you should always worry about the future, but I'm just saying if you're just kind to your future self, you'll just have a happier life in general. I've definitely noticed this in my life at least. Let's just use the sleeping example again. Whenever I decide to just sleep early because I know I have to wake up early, my next day is always better. Sleeping late would be understandable if you're doing something important and you know you just have to do it. But for me, most of the situations it's just me watching YouTube and just wasting my time instead of just going to sleep. If you always just end up prioritizing present you over future you, then it's just like a super stressful way to live. Also, this is definitely gonna annoy me how these are different levels, but I might just add like a staircase or something to make it not annoying or something like that. I don't know. I'll try to figure something out eventually. As I was saying, it's just a super stressful way to live, and if you just end up being a bit nicer to your future self, then you'll quickly realize that you're just a lot happier in life. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at this. I literally started the video by saying I'm a professional procrastinator, and I still am, but I've definitely noticed that I'm a lot happier in life and I help future me. For the people that struggle to be kind to themselves, there's this TikTok that I watched that actually really helped me put this into perspective. The TikTok pretty much said that you should pretend that your future self is a close friend of yours and you're just doing favors for them to make their lives a lot easier. This way of thinking actually really helped me out, to be honest. It just made it a lot easier to actually visualize what they mean when they say to be nicer to yourself, to be nicer to your future self. I mean, it also has just led me to being like less angry of a person because I would always get so mad at myself that I would always leave work to future me instead of just doing it. I'm not even joking. There have been so many times during university when I would wake up and I would realize that I'm still at 0 words for my essay and I'll just be so annoyed at myself. And a good way to prove that I've changed my ways is actually this YouTube channel. If you've been watching for a while, you know I post every single day, but you might not know that I was actually gone for about like 2 weeks. I had to pre-record like a shit ton of videos because I was away from my computer and I was just away from home, meaning that there were days where I would end up actually making like 3 videos in that day. This includes recording it, editing it, and making the thumbnails, which was super stressful, but I thought it would be completely worth it because I didn't want to miss a day. And it ended up working out very well because I wasn't stressed at all while I was away because I knew that I had all the videos done in time. So there was no need to be mad at past me. I was actually really happy with past me. But now that I'm back, I'm actually struggling to have that work ethic again, but I'm still not missing a day. So I'm gonna hopefully keep at it and I'll be back at where I was before I left. I hope this video helped you in some way, like maybe just changing the way you think or just like anything in general. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you ended up enjoying this video, please do leave a like and subscribe. And if you're still watching till now, you're definitely enjoying it. So you might as well click on the video that just popped up. Or don't, it's obviously up to you. Thank you guys for watching and have a great night. Peace.